you try to buy the toothpaste and the brush and everything. So that's how it is. So you pack everything, and yeah, you try maximum 35 pounds used to be allowed earlier, or 25 k. I don't remember exactly. And you try to maximize the weight, and you will try to pack 35 pounds and 1 ounce. So just to make sure you are not leaving any space out. So that's how the packing goes on.
Like a true South Asian.
Yes.
So you're packed. How was the journey then?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention achar also. So you pack achar too. I'm sorry about that. That's the most important piece.
Anu's bopping his head. So now back. So how do you? What's the journey like?
Oh, journey it's like for most part of India, or the most part of the Indians, right? Coming to US is the first time they board a plane. Because usually you end up, traveling in a train or, some other mode of transportation. So the airport is a big deal. I think the only time you see an airport is in the movies. Because I was born and brought up in the same apartment complex, ground floor hospital. My parents took me to the second floor. I stayed there for like almost 20 years. And the very first time I left Bombay was coming to the United States. So I had a vision or the visual memories saying that, oh, you know what, I'll have to walk steps, and then, I just walk, keep waving at my family, they'll keep waving at me, and then, I'll walk the steps to the airplane, I'll get into the airplane, there'll be a beautiful air hostess greeting me, okay, namaste, namaste. But it was totally different because my parents said, okay, now it's time to go for you because your flight is waiting. I enter immigration check, and I keep walking, and I walk in a tunnel, and oh my God, I'm in a plane. And I lose all the fun, and I said, oh, shit. Then I realized, oh, you know what? I'm really going to America now. So this is USA, man. This is USA.
My favorite thing with the airport was, my old job would take me back and forth. And I'd go to, whenever I'd be outside the airport, I'd be entering to get inside to my flight. But outside the airport, there'd be big crowds, there's paparazzi. And I'd be like, oh my God, Amitabh Bachchan is at the airport. So I'd try to go in, get to the crowd. But instead, it's like Sham from Patiala because everyone in the whole village comes to greet him off.
Oh, yeah, okay. So just to add to this, right, my cousin in 96, when he was coming to the United States, we all were crying because he's leaving, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, Amitabh Bachchan, real Amitabh Bachchan with the family, he walks in and everybody stops crying, just keeps looking at him. And then moment he disappears, everybody starts crying again. So yeah, and remember what you're talking about. I can definitely quote it because it happened in my family.
So you're on the plane and you're on that journey. What's that? What are you going through? What happens then?
Oh my God! I'll tell you, that's one of the most. I don't know. I don't even have a word to describe that. So the problem is this. Okay, I come from a business background, as in like my whole family is businessmen. So and I'm a true South Asian. So money is the biggest deal, right? Because we are coming here for earning money, the dollar. So I board in a plane from Bombay, en route to San Francisco, which is US, through Korea. So you do not know which currencies to use. So I was like, okay, if I ask for a water, it's going to be charged. So I was like, shall I? And being a Piscean, you have a lot of urge for water. And then I decided, you know what, dude, I'm going to just go and ask for water. So I push the button and I come, and with that typical accent, I want water. Something like that I say, and they get confused. And more than that, right, along with the water, I asked for a tea. And I said, can I have tea with the milk? So there's no concept of tea with the milk in the flight because all they do is they give you that hot water and dip. And they give me the tea and I say, I want a tea with the milk. And the lady goes confused. And then she calls, and she calls another crew member, and it becomes a big deal. And you won't believe there was a kid sitting right next to me. She was like about 8 or 9 years, and she asked me, are you traveling for the first time in plane? And yeah, that was hilarious. So I still remember those days. So the plane journey was, there were a few more incidents, and I think we'll need another segment for that. But yeah, so that's how it is. And so plane journey was, because, the first time you're sitting, you do not know how to greet people, how to talk to people, where to keep the food and all this kind of stuff. So it's totally different.
I can imagine. So now you've landed. What are your first few days like here in the U.S.?
Oh, okay. You land in America. You come out.
And you collect all the $100 bills.
No, you know what? Unfortunately, there are no $100 bills. Okay, the very first thing is you look for a restroom because you have sat in the plane for too long. Okay, now what happens next? You come out on the airplane, and as I said, being a Piscean, you need a lot of water. I need a lot of water because of the star sign. And I start looking for the water. and there is nothing sign which says water, 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 and there's a water fountain. So I ask somebody, I need to drink water, and they say, okay, go in there, and I go and stand right next to the fountain, and I do not know how to drink water because here you push the button and the water flows out, and you have to put your mouth in between and keep sucking it out, right? Unlike the glass, because I'm looking for a glass so I can pour the water inside that. So those are some of the things, and the most important thing, at San Francisco airport 10 years back they had the sensor. So I go inside the restroom, I use the restroom, and I come out and I see, oh, you know what? Now I need to wash my hands, and I'm looking for the knob because there are no knobs because you have to put the hand inside. So there's a sensor. So those are some of the things, very interesting stuff.
Please tell me you washed your hands.
I did. So don't worry, that was 10 years back. So
Okay.
I'm pretty clean.
Now we're wrapping up here. We're nearing the end of the segment. Give me your first few days here in the U.S.
Okay, so I mean it's a long story, but like some of the stuff, small stuff. I'll give you immigration line. The very first time when you come in, you go through the immigration process. One of the tough ones. Sometimes people are not cooperative here. I no offense, but at the same time, some people like really greet you like, oh, welcome, and you really feel because they are the first people you ever interact the moment you land here. So it depends upon whom you interact with. The funny story I would like to tell. I don't know how much time do we have right now, but one story I would definitely share is the elevator story, and I still distinctly remember because when I landed here, my brother came and we used to live in Fair Oaks West. So in India, we call lift, which is like elevator here. So we enter into elevator, and usually most of the buildings in India do not have an elevator, okay, to start with. So having an elevator is a big deal. So when I enter into Fair Oaks, I enter into the elevator. It has 2 doors. My goodness. First of all, you don't have elevator in India. The second thing is you have an elevator in the United States, and that too also with 2 doors. So I do not know where to enter. So we enter into the elevator and we push the button, and I'm waiting facing the door from where I entered, and boom, on the other side the door opens, and I was like, oh my God, I think something is broken. So that's
2
one of
doors.
that was one of the things. I still remember that.
So we've talked about it all. We've talked about you leaving India, your journey here, you arriving here in your first few days. Are there any marks of a good H1? And we're gonna have more segments, but right off the bat, are there any marks of what an H1? Because they've left their mark here in the Bay Area.
Oh
at
yeah,
least in the
absolutely.
US.
But before that, I'll just tell you one more incident. Most of the H1s, I think, most of the guys who come from India, the moment we get off the plane, moment somebody comes and picks up, right? When they're driving, you guys drive on the wrong side of the road, actually. Just
Oh,
so
really?
you know. Yeah, because when I got in the plane, got into the car, I thought, oh, he's driving on the wrong side. Maybe in US it's allowed. So that's one thing. Yeah, about the leaving the mark, about H1s, it's like that. They're I don't know. I mean, you want to talk about in a sense of the success or in terms of their characteristics.
So hold that thought, because we're gonna do multiple of these segments. The lines are already off the hook. We're gonna go to a break. We're gonna end this segment right here because we're gonna have you back, Sunil the H1, on a different segment. Next time, we're gonna talk about what the first few days and then your life here in the U.S. is. Is that fair?
Oh, sure.
All right. Sunil, our resident H1, thank you so much for coming in today. And we'll be right back after this.